This is the most serious threat to the American system in my lifetime, not because of one man named Donald Trump, but because of a number of folks who are trying to say it doesn't matter what our judicial system is, it doesn't matter about the correct operation of our political system, it doesn't matter about a decent American society. At the end of the day, you scream witch hunt, and everybody should jump to that tune.
Donald Trump facing, well, 4 charges over his attempts to overturn the 2020 presidential election and for his role in the riot at the US Capitol in the days before he left the White House. So far, he's the only defendant to formally face charges, but the indictment cites 6 unnamed co-conspirators, including a lawyer said to be willing to spread knowingly false claims and pursue strategies. Well, Jack Smith is the special counsel overseeing the investigation, and this is the moment he announced the charges.
The attack on our nation's capital on January 6th, 2021 was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. As described in the indictment, it was fueled by lies. Lies by the defendant targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government, the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election.
That was Jack Smith overnight. Well, let's try to get a sense of exactly how serious all of this is for Donald Trump. Scott Lucas is a professor of American Studies at the University College Dublin's Clinton Institute and joins us now. Hi, Scott.
Very good to be here, Matt. Thank you.
So just take us through, first of all, what exactly is it that Donald Trump is being accused of and what isn't he being accused of?
So, Matt, the 4 felony counts that are set out are technically the conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to defraud rights of individuals, and obstruction and conspiracy to obstruct a government investigation. Now, what those charges all relate to and what the indictment sets out, I think the way to explain it to myself is what we have here is a 4-phase plan. You might even call it a plot to seize and hold on to power despite losing the 2020 election. Phase 1 began on election night when you had Donald Trump put out the knowingly false. He knew they were false claims that there was massive electoral fraud. He and his lawyers, including 2 who are co-conspirators, and I do know their names if you want to have them in the document, continue for weeks to put out this disinformation, leading to phase 2, which was the pressure on individual states, the governors, the legislatures, to replace the legally chosen Biden electors with fake electors that were selected by Trump, thus tipping the Electoral College in his favor. When that failed, Trump tried to put pressure on the Justice Department through another co-conspirator to declare the election invalid. And then when that failed, he and his inner circle put pressure on Vice President Mike Pence to rule out the legitimate election on January the 6th, 2021, when Congress met to certify the results, and instead proclaim that Trump's fake electors should be installed. Mike Pence refused to do that, and that's when Donald Trump went to his supporters outside the White House and said, "You need to march on the Capitol."
How serious are these offences? In the, I mean, they're clearly serious, but because they relate to democracy. But in sort of legal terms,
there are 40 counts over the quote mishandling. In other words, theft of documents from the White House in June's indictment. Each of the counts under the Espionage Act carries up to 10 years in prison. So he was already facing hundreds of years in prison technically, if not in practice, if he was convicted. Now, on these charges, even though they're 4 felony counts, they are extremely serious. They carry multiple years in prison, especially the conspiracy to defraud the United States, which is just short, to really put it in blunt terms, of a treason charge. So Donald Trump is someone who, if he was not Donald Trump, I think the legal jeopardy would be someone who would be behind bars for a very long time if convicted. Of course, since it's Donald Trump, we're going to have politics, which is going to try to interfere with and even try to bury this legal process.
In terms of the response from Donald Trump, he's compared his persecutions to 1930s Nazi Germany, the Soviet Union, or other dictatorial regimes, saying that the Jack Smith, the special counsel, the Justice Department, and the Biden administration are conspiring to derail his attempt to return to the White House. I mean, to some extent, this is a flaw in the American justice system, that everyone in it is politicized all the time. It's not it's not particular to this case. He's clearly trying to weaponize it by saying that, Biden's Department of Justice has once again indicted me in emails and, using it as a campaigning tool. Is it a problem? Is there politics being played out in this? Can it all be dismissed as a Democrat plot?
It's a serious problem if the media, instead of sticking with the facts of the case and instead of sticking with the need to keep the legal process separate from the politics and to defend it, becomes a megaphone for what Donald Trump says, not only on this occasion, but on each and every occasion where he's been indicted or possibly could have been indicted, going back to the Trump-Russia scandal. Look, Donald Trump and his supporters, those who are with him come hell or high water, have attacked in previous cases as well as this one, the prosecutor, the judge, the judge's wife, the grand juries. They said this is a plot of Democrats, radicals, extremists, professors like myself, as well, of course, as Joe Biden. That's Trump's tactics in the era of social media. He's gotten away with it for a number of years, but I'm just going to give you one fundamental. And it's something actually that a guy named Mike Pence said. You remember him, vice president under Donald Trump? Someone who faced calls to be hung on January 6th by Trumpists? Pence said, Donald Trump is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Absolutely right. But he also said, no person is above the Constitution. No person is above the legal system. This is the most serious threat to the American system in my lifetime, not because of one man named Donald Trump, but because of a number of folks who are trying to say, it doesn't matter what our judicial system is, it doesn't matter about the correct operation of our political system, it doesn't matter about a decent American society. At the end of the day, you scream witch hunt, and everybody should jump to that tune.
Scott Lucas, really good to speak to you, Professor of American Studies at University College Dublin's Clinton Institute. Responding to that news, Donald Trump charged with 4 federal offences: conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct Congress's certification of Joe Biden's electoral victory on January the 6th, 2021, obstruction, and conspiracy against the right to vote.